I do not like meetings. I generally find them to be a time suck and a deterrent to productivity. The worst kinds are those that overrun and end up without any specific follow-up action items. Unfortunately, we work at a time where Zoom calls and meetings take up the majority of our work days, forcing everyone to context switch almost every hour. An issue that could have been resolved via a series of well-crafted email now becomes an hour-long discussion full of half-baked ideas where everyone is either multitasking or distracted anyway. Calendar Tetris, a term that is now used to define how we neatly place 30 to 60-minute time blocks, fill up our work weeks. It's no wonder that the recent popular advice has been to either start your workday earlier or work later into the night because these times are quieter and filled with less distractions, i.e. meetings. Now, I accept that collaborations, check-ins, and discussions are necessary. These activities do need to happen during our work week. But how do you maintain your productivity, get good work done without sacrificing your out-of-office hours in this era of meeting culture? As a manager and a leader, there can be the expectation to work in what has been dubbed the manager schedule. This is where your days neatly cut into 1-hour intervals. For me, this means that I potentially have to switch what I'm doing every hour. So I have given a lot of thought into this problem, especially how do I optimize my productivity while being available to my peers and my team here in London. The best place to start is to say no to meetings that you don't find valuable. Go through a mental checklist that goes something like this. First, I check to see if there's even an agenda on the meeting request. Then, I look to see if the purpose of the meeting aligns with my priorities and work that I'm supposed to be doing that week. And then finally, I look at the attendee list to make sure that the right amount of people have either accepted or been invited to enable us to get to an outcome. If none of these three things are met, I will politely reach out to the meeting organizer to ask for clarification or, in some cases, decline the meeting altogether. It may seem that I'm being difficult by asking all of these questions, but in fact, what I'm actually doing is helping the organizer become more effective. In more than one case, we have been able to resolve what would have otherwise been an hour-long meeting via a series of email exchanges and working through it on Slack. So try it. Look through your calendar for the upcoming week, starting with meetings where you are the organizer. Run through this mental checklist and determine if you could achieve the same result differently. This then leads me to the second tactic that I've adapted recently. That is working asynchronously. Asynchronous work simply means that work does not need to happen at the same time for everybody. Working this way can be difficult because it requires time to think through, research your point of view on the topic being discussed, and then carefully and concisely respond in a way that will prompt a discussion from everyone else. As you can imagine, this is not the preferred way of working for most people because it is much easier to spend time in a meeting spitballing half-baked ideas. Similarly to saying no, I have also attempted to lead by example here. My workflow generally goes something like this. First, I write an email to provide context and background on the problem that we're trying to solve. If applicable, I'll also include my ideas on a path towards a solution. Then, I will have specific asks for those that I'm supposed to be collaborating with. I then follow up with Slack messages to suss out any additional questions or to provide clarifying context. Only after a few interactions where there continue to be misalignment will I then schedule a meeting to only focus on discussing the misaligned points. With this approach, ideally everyone is coming to the meeting prepared to discuss only a list of very specific topics. Going back to the first point, this would count as a valuable meeting because all three items on the checklist would have been met. So yes, I will concede that it is sometimes essential to have meetings. But then how do you know when it is the right time to do the meeting? For this, let me describe how I manage my week. I generally follow the batching productivity method where I group similar tasks together. The primary benefit of batching is that it helps reduce context switching. However, the additional benefit for me is that it helps set when I can actually have meetings on certain topics. For example, I would batch together recruitment and new employment activities such as interviewing, reviewing CVs, etc., to help reduce context switching. This means the team and I can set expectations and plan activities around this schedule. Doing so across the different batches of work that I have in a given week means that I can step outside of the manager's schedule while having just enough time for valuable meetings. Over these past 8 months, I have incorporated these ideas into my work week, and I am seeing results. But yes, this is difficult. Initially, I received feedback that I was not being collaborative or that work was moving slower. However, this feedback is turning around now as we get used to working this way and continue to see results. Anyway, I hope that the takeaway from today's video is that you too can optimize your productivity around meetings. That you don't have to wake up at 5 a.m. or work till 11 p.m. just so you can get your work done because it's quiet. I do hope that you can experiment with some of the ideas that I talked about in this video and that you too can accomplish more in the next week. Better yet, I do hope that you can help me inspire a change of having less pointless meetings across our various organizations. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you on the next one.